or DC can take it.
Black, you son of a gun. Let's go ahead and send things out to our casters right now. It's none other than Capitalist and Blitz.
The final match to determine which team will be heading to the final day. Will it be Digital Chaos or will it be FNATIC? These two teams sharing many similarities, led by old blood from the Dota 1 and early Dota 2 days in Misery, Resolution, Ohio, and Mushi, of course. The new blood, fresh Dota 2 players trying to make their claw through the Dota 2 competitive scene. This is going to be one hell of a match. Blitz, FNATIC, and DC. We have a draft that features a few surprises. The Ursa for the Digital Chaos, and FNATIC actually picking up a Legion Commander quite early into their draft.
Yeah, this is probably the surprise pick for me. I'd imagine it's just because you can dispel the starter's amp as well as you can lock down any of these two supports. But at the same time, it does feel maybe just a little bit too greedy and not entirely sure what the direction is here. Just because it is going to be hard for them to secure the farm for this Legion. He's largely just going to have to jungle, might even contest a little bit. But with the Slark and Keeper of the Light Lane up here, I highly doubt that he lasts for very long.
Looks like we are going to be having Mushi's going to be playing the Mirana here in this match. Mid one is going to be on our Phantom Lancer. It's looking like we are going to be having a safe lane Phantom Lancer though, with DJ on the Shadow Shaman. He had one hell of a performance earlier on this very hero. Ohio obviously on that Legion Commander up the top lane, as you said. That matchup, the Slark and the Keeper of the Light, that's going to be a dangerous one for him to try and contest. May just have to fall out to the jungle rather early. Meanwhile, Digital Chaos are going to be running a support Slardar here with Misery. On that one, he's going to be coupled up with Moo most likely a lot of the times. Trying to use that classic double melee and double ion shell. That abusive strategy that punishes heroes mainly laning phase. Resolution barely making it open to the cliff.
That was scary. It looked like for a second he was going to bug his way down, but FNATIC not going to be able to get anything, and they would have had to hit another Torrent anyways. Resolution most likely would have been okay.
Unable to snag that boundary rune away from the Legion Commander. Weehaw going to be playing the Ursa in the mid matchup against Mushi. How would you say this matchup fares for Ursa?
I think Ursa does okay. You can just keep drawing creep aggro, and the fact that you have a 4-man shield allows you to take a lot of these weak Mirana hits. She's only got 55 base, so when it comes to trading last hits, we should be somewhat okay. At the same time, Mushi has kill potential, whereas we almost doesn't, and that's going to determine a lot of the aggression in this lane. And you already see it as Mushi's just getting into a right-click fight.
Mid one, he has a stout shield on him in this bottom lane, Phantom Lancer, and he's going to have the last hit without a Quelling Blade underneath his tier 1 towers. The constant Ion Shell push is going to come out from Digital Chaos, coupled with the occasional hard camp pull. Misery will try and protect the pull as best as possible, ready to go with the Slithering Crush. The Fed hit bouncy, won't be able to grab that big creep though. Mid one snatches it up with a Spirit Lance, but they're chased away once the Ion Shell creeps push forward.
Yeah, I think this is a game that the Phantom Lancer can be incredibly successful. And if you look at the rest of DC's heroes, they don't have the best way to clear him out. The most that they can do is, if they get a good early mid-game start, maybe they can just roll over him. But when it comes to the absolute late game, I think FNATIC are in pretty decent shape. But this bottom lane move, getting almost every single last hit already.
Misery buying him quite a lot of space. The Shadow Shaman, one of the big weaknesses of that support hero, not very good against 2v2 scenarios. Much prefers the solo offlaner, where it's able to truly abuse that shackles. As it stands, looks like the lanes are going quite well for Digital Chaos. Including the top lane, where Resolution now jumps on Ohio, trying to get some extra damage in. They're going to go for a bit of body blocking. Ohio, though, as soon as he pops that press the attack, they know he has more than enough regen to be able to survive the gank attack.
Yeah, as a result of this dual lane up here, 3-4-3 coming up, Resolution just hasn't had the best time CSing. And Soxa can't really do anything as the Keeper of the Light. They were anticipating a 2v1 lane, which they probably would have been able to win, but Resolution can't really trade right clicks very efficiently with Ohio. He needs the help of the support, but at the same time, 3-4-3 already has the trouble of that Tidebringer.
Double damage, he's easily able to keep the Slark zoned out and should be able to secure a lot of CS for Ohio. Really important that this Legion Commander gets off to a great start.
Yeah, and in this mid lane, Mushi doing fine, but like we talked about this Ursa, even though he is the melee hero, he's doing perfectly okay in this lane. You can just keep drawing it back.
There, an Ursa kill. Bottom lane takes up the Phantom Lance with a combination of Misery and Moo. The Ion Shells taking the first blood against FNATIC.
Really well done. Did not expect there to be a kill in that lane, but the support Slardar, something a little bit greedy, doesn't really have a whole lot going for him. He needs a lot of the levels and a decent amount of farm to be useful, but in this dual lane scenario, able to just run this melee core down.
20-0 so far on Mushi. Drop it a bit low there as a spam coming out from Weehaw with that constant Earth Shock. He's trying to put it to use as he's got the ball top anyway. Ohio dropping lower and lower to the Torrents, not able to latch fully, and Resolution will be able to get the extra damage on Ohio, chasing him away. This is buying Resolution a fresh start when it comes to CS after he was pressured so heavily in the first level.
Yeah, and Ohio just going to suicide. Not a whole lot going for him. He just bought out completely. I said it's going to save him some time.
Nice pickup there for Misery. Low enough though. Get to see if he considers going back to base with that one. Nope, it's going to be a passed off healing Sal from Moo. They're going to try and go for the kill here on mid one. Already throwing down the Ion Shell. He's going to wrap all the way around. In fact, he's probably looking for the Shadow Shaman right now. They've got the vision down to be able to see the Shadow Shaman if he comes up this area.
This would be a free kill, but Misery guesses wrong. Gonna go left.
And they see him now. Maybe they can still sandwich him. He pops the sprint. He's going to come in from behind, and it's up to Moo to try and cut off DJ on the right-hand side.
DJ, very scary situation here. He's going to get sandwiched.
Immediately stuns up. Moo going to be there with the Ion Shell damage. DJ left with nothing to do. He throws out the shackles, trying to delay the damage from one of them, but ultimately the other one will help get the kill.
Very well done by this bottom lane as Moo picks up the second kill of the game. Already has the Soul Ring and the infused raindrops. It's going to be incredibly difficult for FNATIC to continue to get aggressive in this lane. So they're just going to have to passively sit back. This is the downside of having that Shadow Shaman in your lane.
At what point in time, we've got an Ursa mid for Digital Chaos. Anytime you have an Ursa, particularly on the Dire side, you're going to look to abuse Roshan. But at what point can you really do that? Because FNATIC, I feel like they've got a pretty decent lineup at contesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is going to come down to how early we wants to signal his team to go for the Roche. And it's probably going to be dependent on whether or not they can put some pressure on this top lane, rotate some heroes over. Early on in the game, as soon as they just devote two support heroes to this bottom lane, it's going to be hard for anything to be really taken by DC, but they're satisfied so far. Laning phase has gone incredibly stable for them, is the best way to put it.
We've talked about Digital Chaos and their laning phase in the past. They seem to have shored up that previous weakness that they were on bottom lane. 3-4-3. He's going to be hunted down here. Weehaw, he's got the surge. He's got the ear shot. Unable to get it off though. DJ ultimate places the shackles. And now here comes mid one. He's completely out of mana. Has to pop the mango in order to double gang out, but DJ will be the feed instead. Weehaw looks for a join for close the distance with 3-4-3. Slardar meanwhile actually kills the lead commander at top lane, but at bottom they still pursue. 3-4-3 deep in
barely misses.
Pure shock, not quite hitting the mark there. Meanwhile, top lane to get the second kill. Mushi falls as well. Digital Chaos coming out on top in both engagements, pressuring bottom and top lane. But maybe now they're going to be caught down. DJ comes in, tries to get the shackles on the Moo. Unable to close that gap though.
That is really surprising that they were able to kill Mushi up at top. There are just so many kills going around the map. DC taking this early lead. And it's very rare that you see that happen when you commit two of your core heroes at bottom and they still manage to pick up kills independent of you. DC just setting a blistering pace so far.
This is so dangerous when Digital Chaos has, I would say, a somewhat greedy core lineup. They've got 3 cores that all need a decent amount of farm, the Slark, the Ursa, as well as the Darkseer. They need to be able to create a lot of space for these heroes, take alternate times of being able to gank with one of the cores while other 2 farm up, and obviously be able to create space for Roshan as well. And a successful laning phase may allow them to do that more naturally than previously thought.
Yeah, and this Legion Commander doing very well for himself. Already level 5, 32 CS on him. Barely behind the Slark. Has picked up a decent amount of farm and levels. Legion really heavily relying on this farm just so he can get a decent timing on his items. if you go way too late for a Blink Dagger, you might just have to transition into that Blade Mill, but Ohio's still looking somewhat okay. And he's just going to stat up is now DC. They should try to get control of this bottom jungle area so that they can secure the next Roshan for themselves. That would be so huge for them in getting aggressive on this Phantom Lancer in the early game.
Now, do you mean they actually need to bring more heroes than just Misery and Moot, who are currently controlling the bottom lane pretty well? Do you think you need that extra rotation from perhaps the Slark or maybe even Keeper of Light, not the greatest ganking hero in the world, but can provide that extra presence to dominate the bottom half of the map?
I think the best thing to happen right now is if DC could get a gank with maybe even Resolution going up at bottom.
Okay.
And then getting aggressive and trying to force them out of this bottom lane, force a core up the top, then immediately go for something like the Roshan. But at bottom,
X marks the spot, gonna be leading into the torrent here. Move gonna be caught quite easily, but Urus is now here, and he's gonna try and get vengeance. DJ turns around, manages to get the Hex just in time with Urus goes down DJ. His ally leaves behind, they know there's reinforcements coming. Misery, he's a nice slithering crutch, trying to rank the arrow. Can't get to the creep wave in time to block it off, and now even Weehawk being hit by the torrent. This could be the here comes the duel Fnatic desperately need with the Earth Shock. It keeps Ohio at bay, unable to get that duel. They can still take this one. Weehawk burn fight. Up against the duel. Weehawk, he knows the torrent was coming in. He knows the win. Ohio survives. Winner gets the duel damage. Will still fall to Misery as he comes in with a slithering crush. But the fight looks nasty as Fnatic go in deep for that one, and they may still lose an extra hero. Mid-1 being chased up. Luci's blocking it out with his illusions. Now he's going to be the one amped up. Saksa hoping to be able to get a mana leak here. He'll be able to keep Mushi down. The lead's just ahead of him.
unable to find the angle with DC. They didn't get the buyback from Misery. Weren't able to save too much, but now they bring a lot of heroes down here. This is exactly what we wanted to see. And if they can control this space of the map, already getting a ward down here, a Roshan will be simple for them.
Resolution. He got a decent amount of damage on that tower. He's even pulling for himself just to get that extra bit of farm. At this point, he will probably have a decent progression into that 15-18 minute marker where we see the first big item pickup. Do you think that's going to be Blink Dagger or is it going to be a Shadow Blade in this game?
Not really sure. It looks like he's just building for pure tankiness right now.
Yeah. Now he's got treads. We'll be bringing in the Ring of Aquila in due time. FNATIC. They did show a hero up top lane, and Digital Chaos poke at Roshan, but map is still not revealing enough for them to feel comfortable being able to take that bound.
I think Link might be a little bit better for Resolution, but Shadow Blade fits his playstyle a little bit more.
Yeah.
He likes to play that solo kind of playstyle where you can just pick off one of the supports in the back. We've seen him do it very frequently in the past.
I mean, you've got a lot of heroes, I would say, on the side of FNATIC that a Blink Dagger Slark can really abuse. The Shadow Shaman being able to guarantee close that gap with that hero and abuse him with your combination of nukes and that ultimate, as well as obviously being able to latch onto that Mirana from
It's
lead.
going to be pretty well done as Mushi and 343, they're in perfect position to break the smoke on either side. They spot this coming.
They still find something. Spots out 343, can't quite pursue though. Perfectly read by FNATIC.
Yeah. We talked about how FNATIC wanted to, or DC wanted to get control of this area. They immediately placed somebody in the Roshan pit just in case somebody comes by. They put the Kunkka on the top side of the hill, so there's absolutely no way that either side can get through. That'll prevent the Roshan from happening as well as FNATIC. They really want to play on this bottom half of the map. It's very rare that Radiant plays like this, but especially against an Ursa, it's quite necessary.
Can't afford to just be giving away control of your jungle or that tier 1 tower. Gotta keep that vision area around that Roshan pit. Not allow that Ursa to be able to snowball off of the
343. Trying to scout out this rune with Mushi. You notice that Mushi just playing on the bottom half of the map once again. Sending DJ to grab some amount of farm. He needs at least 8 weeks to be even a hero in this game, otherwise he just drops the wards and runs.
They like this build by Ohio so far. Forgoing the Blink Dagger. Looks like he's going to be picking up not just the phase, but also the armlet here.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. Turning him into a second core on top of the, for now, the Mirana, just because the Phantom Lancer isn't doing so hot.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty important for them.
It means they're going to have a pretty big power spike between the Mirana and the Legion Commander around that 25-minute marker.
getting caught here, but it looks like an arrow led into the duel. 20 damage already for Ohio. Coming back, like he's going to pay for it with his line perhaps. The boat's going to come in, not quite striking Digital Chaos. They are pursuing out, but it looks like the excellence spot is going to hold them in place. Morrison's arrow also going to be able to follow that one out. The Resolution lands the pounds on 3-4-3, keeping them in place. They still have the Moonlight Shadow for a second, but now with the phase, they will fall 1-for-1 straight off there. Digital Chaos. They swarm the bottom lane. They've lost mid thanks to the Shadow Shaman ward, and top lane is being given away to the Phantomlancer as well. If they had caught more heroes there in that bottom lane engagement, maybe DC could have finally gone for that Roshan. Just not Mushi. Maybe he's the pickoff. Miss crush there by Mid. They can still get Mushi though. They're going to have to dive behind the tier 1 tower for it. They're afraid of the TP rotations as they should be. FNATIC already committing 3 TPs in. DJ pursuing out. They're also going to be able to have the Kunkka here. Not going to be close enough for an X marks the spot catch just yet.
And this is the downside right now of DC's lineup. Although their laning phase was very good, this is what happens when you have a support Slardar. He eventually is going to need to grab them. He's had some really good rune luck in grabbing so many of those haste runes, but you can't actively rely on those. And so for DC to set up a fight, you have to bring Resolution down. You have to get him a Shadow Blade just so he can open up fights and force FNATIC into a position where they can't run away. So far, FNATIC are just playing the hit and let game, farm around with all of their heroes, and it's working out for them.
FNATIC have done a really good job, not just controlling that bottom lane, but still not giving up that top lane tower so early. It's only sitting at half HP done. Oftentimes when a Slark is left alone in his lane, he's able to take that tower out within the first 15 minutes of the game. Not the case here.
The only downside right now that I can see from the FNATIC lineup is they're kind of grouped up together at all times because they're so focused on this Roshan that they can't really take it themselves unless they have the Shadow Shaman wards. It's not easy for them to sneak it, especially against DC's lineup. You never want to fight a Darkseer around that Roshan pit. Same thing goes with the Keeper of the Light. They don't really have a lot of physical damage on top of the wards to take it very quickly.
Despite being grouped up though, FNATIC have not dropped too much of a gold lead to Digital Chaos. We'll see a little bit more of a lead though in that experience grab, as all that grouping up obviously are making FNATIC's growth and levels.
I think right now DC should start to try to get aggressive. Resolution has the Shadow Blade, Blink Dagger's picked up on the Ursa. The next round of items will take way too long for them to get started. I think this is around the time you want to set up for a smoke and...
Oh no, Ohio, he actually completed the just in time! Misery catches the D1 back in the lane. They're able to get the shackles on the Zaza. No contest there. FNATIC will get the pick off on the support, but Digital Chaos did manage to pick up the bigger kill in Ohio. But can they stop this bottom lane push? It looks like FNATIC, with 4 heroes here, are going to try and contest the tier 1 and bottom lane.
Yeah, they even have a sentry down 3-4-3 in the perfect position to look for the counter initiation as Resolution's gonna walk in unaware.
Oh, he already gets teched up, but he's still Shadowblade, will be able to get through those wards. Now it's the shackles, but here's he's actually gonna be able to take up FNATIC mid, which is good because Digital Chaos, they're on the precipice of swarming forward, but I think they realize it's good enough just to be able to defend this tower. Circle Ward will not stop anybody dying, and I think almost more importantly, they're buying Misery space for him to be able to pick up his Blink Dagger. You talked about how important this timing is for DC to get aggressive with that Shadow Blade. Well, now they're going to hit another key timing with Misery's Blink.
Yeah, that's going to come online a lot faster than I thought it would. Is that bottom engagement was just with spells on either side. FNATIC and DC both not really willing to engage, especially since Resolution wasn't certain where that ward was. FNATIC unable to capitalize off of the great play of that Shadow Shaman.
Mushi has been quite close to his Aghanim Scepter for quite some time. That obviously is a big boost in farming speed, so he really needs to take a moment, finish that one up. Thankfully, he's got the Kunkka to make sure that Mushi is always in play.
Yes,
TP's
X
back,
marks the
fills up his bottle, immediately returns to jungling with Starstorm.
Yeah, Misery picked up this Blink. We talked about how when DC get these first round of items, they want to try to get aggressive. They've got the mech on the Darkseer as well. There shouldn't be a whole lot that they're waiting for anymore. And we talked about controlling the bottom lane. This is going to be the key for DC so that they can get this early Roshan. They're going to start making their move forward. I'd really like to see FNATIC camp a hero in that same exact location.
Yeah.
Even if you just tank it on maybe even the Kunkka, which he's exactly going to go for. And he's just willing try and break the smoke, but this time around going to go all the way back. But somebody from FNATIC.
He checked out that Roshan pit, thinking maybe Digital Chaos may have smoked all the way in there. Now careful though, they may lose mid one here. Weehaw is ready to go with Blink Dagger as well. They're going to start jumping in there. His initiation needs to stop on a Frenzy's head. Weehaw is ready to jump in. Jumping in, it's going to go to Earthshock. The goal goes down now. They're all blinded up. They're not getting any damage on the move in time. DJ managed to growl up Weehaw, but stop by Mystery's front. Now they jump on the DJ. Hoping to be able to take out the support. It's quite easy.
And the courier goes down.
The courier going down, and the God vision of all these heroes. Behind the tower, they're gonna die more. FNATIC trapped behind the tier 1 tower. Ohio trying to dig his way out. Ohio holding his breath, praying that Digital Chaos do not fight him here, as he does not have TP away. It looks like he is going to be able to make it out alive. Digital Chaos, they have bigger things in their mind. They've taken that tier 1 tower, they've won the team fight, and now they're gonna take that one.
That was so well done by DC, just how they set up that fight. FNATIC, they had to expect that engagement. They thought that DC would go for the sneak Roshan first, but there's no way against FNATIC lineup they're going to do that. They're going to go for the fight near that bottom area. That's exactly what we've been talking about this entire game before they go for this Roshan kill. And FNATIC slip up huge.
They certainly did. Thankfully, Mushi is still able to finish up his Aghanim Scepter, so we will see a continual growth in him for net worth and perhaps an extra powerhouse in these team fights if he's able to last long enough to be able to get off multiple star storms. Their 3-man smoke is going to run into Weehaw. Oh no, he just picked up an infantry and they are going to be able to get the dust onto him, and an arrow is going to be able to land. They're going to combo up him. This is just the aim. However, FNATIC are going to try and escape. The resolution on their chaos throws up a house. Misery with the run. Jump to two with their track back. Oh my god! That was the beauty! Now Weehaw gonna be able to jump right in the middle of all FNATIC, hits the nice third shot, and pursues whatever he can get his claws on. Two down from FNATIC, and a third gonna fall as well. 3-4-3 loses his life, and Resolution will get the triple.
Lou has just been so incredible in this main stage. His Timber Saw led them to countless victories, but that vacuum wall gonna secure them another fight in a row. Clutch performance like in the DC, they gathered around, they used that Aegis to perfect effectiveness. FNATIC completely caught off guard by that Slark as well.
And now they're turned towards mid wad. He already popped a doppelganger, that's gonna be easy for mid.
All they have to do is gas now.
They wrong illusion. They may still catch the real mid one though. Turns around, throws out the headline. No, he can't escape here, so he tries to get the kill on Misery, but to no avail.
And FNATIC just getting caught all around the map. They've been playing such clean Dota so far, but another one. Overextending himself this time around. Trying to lead by example, but runs straight into the danger zone. FNATIC tension with Mushi's Starstorms. And Digital Chaos will now back up as 4, unable to get that tier 1 mid like they hoped. My largest concern right now for FNATIC is Ohio's item progression. It has almost entirely stopped. I believe he has the armlet off the courier, which is what was coming, but before that comes 21 minutes in, doesn't have any follow-up items as a result of all these lost fights. He desperately needs a Blink Dagger so he can get his own initiation done.
Yeah, he started off nice. 2 dual kills. We had phase boots, a pretty good progression into that armlet, but now with the armlet delay, thanks to the courier being down, he only just now picks it up. And we're going to need to see him put in some serious work with the Blink Dagger if he chooses that as his 3rd item.
I think he's going to need to. Otherwise, your only initiation from FNATIC, it was enough in the beginning of the game. This X marks the spot into Torn combination, but DC just overrun you. They have so many different ways to fight. There's a mech on their side, something that FNATIC just don't have. And now they're going to go for the bottom tower. I think FNATIC are just going to look to trade. This can't give up another fight in a row.
Yeah. This really hurts Ohio because you could see a very clear progression of items that would be very successful in this team. He managed to get a Blink and a Blade Jam. They can actually lock down heroes like the Clark or the Ursa and be able to use this sort of anti-carry to be able to take out one of the big fours of Digital Chaos. But the progression in items is just not there yet. But FNATIC did just pick up a tier 1 tower and they're pushing for more. Going for this tier 2, see if they can even out the tower trade-off here. as Digital Chaos takes the bottom lane.
They do have the roster wards available. He's just setting up in the top half of the map. DC, they don't have vision. There's no wards behind this area. FNATIC very well set up. Ohio in a very good position to try to pick somebody out. Ooh, gonna get hit by that arrow. Where's the follow-up?
They do have the cross. Now the ball comes in. Finishing off Moo. Weehaw taking up with his ultimate, ready to go. But one big one. He's already slowing him down with a purge. They've taken out the Ursa. And maybe they're gonna be pulled right back. They are gonna be able to get three here from Digital Chaos. FNATIC found exactly the fight they needed. DC, they saw it coming too. They had the successful scan, but it was right into take the arrow.
And the worst part about that was not just the arrow, it was the angle at which they fought. DC, they have no vision around this area, whereas FNATIC with this ward, they were able to perfectly execute. And DC were just left scrambling, but
now a lot of items coming in for FNATIC that were desperately needed before. The Blink Dagger now up for Mushi, able to play that back and forth game that heroes like Phantom Lancer and Kunkka are so adept at being able to pull off. Speaking of Kunkka, he has drums as well now. Resolution gets spotted out just on the tail edge of that counter. Not going to be able to catch him out though.
he was going to be very hard for them to lock down in these fights. With that Lincoln Spear, still hasn't died in this game. Resolution, maybe the MVP for so many of DC's games.
Yeah, the CIS prodigy, he's met nothing but disappointment in his annual pilgrimage to Seattle. He's recently forsaken his home region for a fresh start with new companions, and obviously, as you see here, on one of our final days of the International, Digital Chaos is still going strong. Resolution leading them. Blink Dagger now being picked up by the Shadow Shaman. That is
top. Saksa, his greed might just cost him his life. As Mushi's got the Blink Dagger, he's going to look to swing this around.
So close to the Aghanim Scepter too. He just needs another 100 gold. Saksa thinks, I can stick around.
8 gold away.
I will
Is
be
Mushi
able to
going to go for it?
wagon. Mushi, he's going to pursue him out. He's ahead of him. Will be able to get the Star Saksa! He finds out the Aghanim Scepter though. It would have been so lovely if FNATIC could have stopped that item pickup and gotten a duel for Ohio. But they made the best of it.
Yeah, it's going to be perfectly okay for Saksa, just because he now has his Axe. A lot of item progression still coming out on the side of DC, especially the supports. Just taking a look at the net worth of the supports, they are eclipsing FNATIC's too. But FNATIC, they still favor their team fight. They're going to start heading their way up here as they push in this mid wave, and DC look to dodge. They still only have this one ward up here. Might be a little bit reluctant to fight as they don't see the angle.
Yeah, if they could just trade off, I think the tier 2 mid. Digital Chaos could be happy with that, but as I say that, they actually are going to go for the initiation. They do get the amplified damage on the mid one. Now he's got the diffuse blade as well as Doppelganger, but still looking to get away from Weehaw, who's still pursuing him out all the way to the trees. The Lord's going to be able to stop them. The back end stops the TP though. Slithering crush follow-up. They don't have the vision. Eventually, mid one is going to be caught here as he Doppelgangers into the trees, but breaks it. They jump outside of the map there for a moment with Resolution, but they catch him anyway. Go down. Digital Chaos successfully defend their tier 2.
And FNATIC, a little bit afraid in their offenses. They weren't really willing to fight that. As you saw the Phantom Lancer go for the TP immediately after the Mirana Moonlight Shadow, but the rest of the team was already gone. And FNATIC throw away 2 heroes, including a core. Exactly what DC were looking for.
Arrow.
Spoil that shot.
Meant for the neutral camp. Misery does spot it out though, knows that Mushi is nearby. Looks like he's probably scouting out the dire jungle, right? Saying maybe if I could get a pick off, Roshan will be up soon. As that potential spawn time starting in just another 10 seconds.
Yeah, right now, both teams' game plan is pretty clear. DC want to engage around this Roshan pit the second time around. They really need it so that their Ursa can get aggressive in a game like this. There's so many different ways to control him. He opted not to go for the BKB, instead grabbing the Ags. He's going to need that Aegis to really utilize his build.
Yeah, this Aghanim's upgrade on the Enrage, that's going to be so great against heroes like the Shadow Shaman. And that Legion Commander duel as well. Slark, though, he is the one, Resolution's the one standing way above the network. He's sitting at 15,000, while all the other cores of both FNATIC and DC are hovering around that 10k line.
FNATIC just continuing to farm on their Phantom Lancer. We talked about how this could potentially be the best late game hero in the game just because DC don't have that natural clear. Eventually, maybe the Slark can build into one if he goes for something like the Mjolnir. But for now, DC are content. He can kill the other heroes so easily that I don't think they feel too pressured about this. Yeah. It is daytime for just 4 more seconds. Might be the wrong time to go for any sort of aggressive maneuver.
The smoke up right as nighttime dawns. Now, Resolution, there is so much of a vision advantage to DC because daytime, they've got this Aghanim's Keeper of Light. Clear vision through and through. They can throw down even a gem soon and be able to control the map really well. But even during nighttime, you've got this pesky Slark moving around the map with that nighttime vision.
Oh, Resolution. He's going to break the smoke. He sees DJ. They're immediately going to start popping down the wards, sensing a fight.
They will be able to get that ward that was placed down by DC earlier. DC came out of trap.
Gets the jump.
Neutral area. These teams all have Blink Dagger. 3-4-3 is going to be the first one in.
Now the vacuum in with the pushback of the blinding light as well through the wall. Misery, he'll pursue them out. Managed to get the force staff into Ohio. Amplify damage, ready to go. The arrow has been run. Snap Weave on. He drops it off within the range and he takes down Ohio.
And Misery tries to continue chasing, barely misses that crush. But they do secure this bottom fight, and FNATIC just not willing to really engage properly here. They just got splintered so quickly.
They certainly did, and now they're going to clean up all the vision. They can lose Gen, Resolution, and all that's left is waiting for this Roshan. Unfortunately for Digital Chaos, though, a little bit of bad luck. Roshan is going to be a very late spawn time here, which means they can't immediately capitalize on that great fight.
Still, that bottom fight, FNATIC, they look like they wanted a full-on commit to it, but DC just found the better angle. They started to try to run away, ended up losing quite a bit of heroes there. As DC, this is their main goal, control up this bottom side of the jungle. Now with the Roshan spawn, Misery just going to amp it up and wait for it to
3,700 gold on Resolution. He is just stacking it up right now.
maybe even go for the Abyssal himself. Could use the damage. DC walking through the as everybody from FNATIC started to move up. They're going to dodge this completely, even if they know what's going on. Not a whole lot of
At this point, FNATIC, they probably got to be thinking about a whole split push game, right? Just try and outmaneuver Digital Chaos, be able to get the right kind of Shadow Shaman wards that trades towers, and just push this game late enough where the Phantom Lancer can start getting into that late game mode.
I think the problem, though, is he's so far behind. Yeah. He needs a lot more net worth before he can become this monster, whereas Illusions actually survive and deal damage.
Yeah, he's going to need at least another 5 to 6k, if not 10 Marana pulled back by X marks the spot for Resolution. He's already kind of sniped that one out. Can't quite get Mushi. The slithering crush just barely off the mark there.
DC most likely going to go for this top tier 2 tower as FNATIC. They should just continue to dodge. There's almost no way that they can get into a fight, especially against that Aegis. No reason not to just wait for that Marana active. As FNATIC clear out their own jungle, mid-1 probably needs at least one item minimum before he can really get into a fight with the rest of the supporters on DC. Even the supports are so engaging in arms.
Certainly are. You've got Saksa, who can probably pick up maybe a Force Staff soon. Ghost Scepter not really that reliable against the Diffusal Blade of the Phantom Lancer, but he's going to need some sort of escape mechanism.
Yeah, DC pushing in this mid-wave instead. Tower is quite a bit lower than the one at top. No way that FNATIC can test this. It's just going to go down. Now they're going to connect to this top lane.
This is just a grab back for DC. They're saying how many towers they can pick up as quick as possible and try and limit the trading that FNATIC are going to be able to get with this 5-man push to the bottom lane. They've already got the tier 1 tower. Looks like DC will try and keep their tier 2 alive though. They don't want to give FNATIC too many opportunities. They're going to pop the Moonlight Shadow as they retreat, and Resolution will be able to find mid-1. TP out, they have a stun, get ready to force that forward. No, not in time. He tried to sprint, blink, and force staff his way through to be able to close that gap now. He might have just got this one. Still has a man coming up in 5 seconds. They can actually turn on the Weehaw. Range popped out. so too does the BKB charge get used. He will be able to get away from FNATIC, but wasn't able to plant the bounty that he was really searching for in mid-1.
Still, they're going to continue to control this jungle area. FNATIC are going to be forced into a ring around the rosy game as every single time DC meet them anywhere, they just have to take the opposite side of the map and continue to mirror what DC is doing. And so far, going relatively okay for them. They haven't really lost anybody in quite some time, but FNATIC, they're just losing real estate on the map. They've already lost control of their own jungle. This top side has been warded as well. The only safe place for them to farm really is whenever the creeps push in or this camp. But DC, the one onboarded spot that they can farm, this area right here, the Ancients and the big camp are also being controlled up. Yeah, they're gonna look at the positioning of FNATIC right now. They're holed up in their base.
Yeah, Digital Chaos know they can keep themselves really well spread. They'll eventually push down this top lane while still controlling both middle and bottom lane. This time around, if they go for a tier 2 tower at top, there isn't going to be that tower trade-off that FNATIC would essentially be taking the best of the bad scenario. But now, not even that option is going to be available.
Yeah, that bottom Misery going to get ported in. They probably need one more hero to do this. And they're going to flash Resolution mid, maybe TP him down here for the rest. That it's going to be We that's going to be recalled. And this 3-man squad still standing very strong. As FNATIC unable to get any wards out. They just have to do this next like this Mirana.
Digital Chaos heroes swarming around the mid lane will start rotating up the top where Resolution finishes up the last creep wave before beating on that tier 2. Looks like the teams go out. FNATIC obviously not going to defend outside their base, are banking on a high ground defense here. And Digital Chaos will oblige them. They're going to go for the high ground push of their own. Being peckered around by all these heroes. Mushi is trying to actually take away that Aegis without committing too much. Weehaw chased away and will not lose that Aegis just yet. With expert to spot, they tried to catch him, but he's pulled back by 343 just in time.
Has to be careful there. DC, they can still kill him very quickly, but DC can just disengage. Not willing to fight without their BKBs onto the high ground. Maybe they just wait for the wards to run out. They also don't have that wall available, but DC, all 3 lanes pushed in. This might be one of their better opportunities. No Aegis on them.
So perhaps time for that smoke push out. They've got the Gem Zoo, so if they can't win an engagement or even just get a pick off, they can start taking away some aggressive vision from DC. Of course, we know there isn't actually that much vision up from Digital Chaos, just this bottom lane rune and one high up in their own jungle. That is oftentimes going to be the play, right? When you start pushing a team in and taking over their jungle, the natural counterplay by FNATIC would be then to push out top lane and try and play in the Dire jungle.
Yeah, exactly, but the problem for FNATIC right now is they're playing a guessing game. When they have no wards out on the map at all, it's hard. You're just assuming at this point. They can't really take the best risk. Ohio even trying to place that ward at top, but they had to use the X marks the spot to do that. Nobody from FNATIC right now feels very safe as DC have spread themselves very well, and they'll just continue to get ahead and passive hold. If you just look at the XP right now, as a result of this standing around 20k, 15k, almost 20k in net worth as well, DC in such a dominant position, and it's clear.
I mean, I was getting a little antsy watching Digital Chaos with that second Aegis and going, you know, okay, let's take that tier 2. Maybe we can go for a high ground push and use that Aegis. But DC are playing much more of a patient game, knowing that they've got full control of the map. They've got a Slark and Ursa and even some greedier support heroes in like the Keeper of the Light and Slardar who can make really good use of the space that they found. They can just control the map and farm and farm and farm until they have such an overwhelming advantage that FNATIC's chances of being able to defend that final high ground push are close to none.
Yeah, right now FNATIC, biggest thing is they don't have a smoke available to them, so they just have to wait before they take an engagement. DC playing around that back, and they are farming everything. The only thing FNATIC is getting right now is whenever the lane creeps push in or somebody from DC shows themselves, and 3 reveal themselves in this mid lane. Meanwhile, Resolution he continuously camps between this bottom lane and clearing out the entire Radiant jungle. but in 10 seconds even. I think that's when FNATIC are going to make their move. They know they're getting past folded out.
They have to play it forward eventually. They can't just wait and wait for Digital Chaos to go for that push because it seems like DC are not going to give it to them until they have that gigantic advantage that we're talking about. So they're going to see instead if they can get a pick off here in this top lane. They know eventually someone's going to come up here, and it looks like Moose will be our victim. Now, he's tanky as all hell. He's got Guardian Greaves, a Pipe of Insight, and a Crimson Guard. So this is not going to be the easiest kill in the world for FNATIC to take. They don't actually jump out just yet.
I mean, they're afraid right now. Everyone started to go missing on the map again. Misery's going to have a DKB on the support Slardar. Funny enough, this Keeper of the Light has even more farm than he does. And they're just playing patient right now. They want to absolutely secure this game. Nothing wrong with that as FNATIC just continue to hide, waiting for any sort of opportunity that they can find. FNATIC, they really only get one shot at this. This is their last smoke remaining. They might even be waiting for this Roshan to spawn. But DC, they're doing the exact same thing.
FNATIC, they have no idea if those two heroes top that they saw, Moo and Saksa, if they're alone, if they've got a team backed up, there's just so little information available to them with only one ward out, and most of what that ward is seeing is just trees on the left-hand side. So FNATIC pop themselves out, look to be able to take a creep wave, not going to be countered by DC, who hope to be able to stop those TPs out.
Right now, DC just continuing to farm up everything. In a second here, we might even check the Roshan, see that it's up, grab the Aegis for himself. He's going to be with the cheese as FNATIC. Talking about it, this one smoke is going to be so crucial. Where they choose to fight is very important for them. Is I think they should honestly just go for the smoke right now. Otherwise, you're going to be holed up in your base and going for a high ground defense. And with 3 BKBs and an Aegis cheese, I'm not sure FNATIC can hold that.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing this...
Okay, looks like they agree.
Yeah. Alright, here it goes.
But it's so late.
The Aegis and Cheese already being picked up. The Slark will be the one holding the Aegis this time around. We feeling comfortable with his BKB and Aghanim Scepter. There's just no chance that they can pop that before he gets off the Cheese, so... he'll be taking that consumable instead of the Slark. 10 to 21, 40 minutes in. It's a 25,000 gold lead for Digital Chaos, 25,000 experience. It would be one hell of a comeback if FNATIC can actually take this game number 1, but DC are making it more and more impossible as the minutes go on. They're building an advantage. They've finally gotten an Aegis and Cheese, which I can only presume is going to be the deciding factor in their push high ground.
I think that there's still maybe some opportunities for them to do this. They brought back one of those teams last time, but they had much better heroes to do so. Tons of AoE, lots of team fight, really effective supports.
But they're going to wait for the full out Abyssal Blades. I know Resolution, he's got some of the items already on him. Weehaw just completes his own Abyssal Blade.
No, I think they can just go for it right now.
Yeah, that would be the best decision. No reason to stretch this one out any further. They've already got a big enough lead. They can end this game. It all just comes down to the execution. They start making their attempts. Going up high ground with Resolution leading the way. Weehaw sitting just behind him. Ready to go with the Blink Abyssal Blade combination that could ensure a quick kill. Light Shadow getting FNATIC in position here to be able to poke at Digital Chaos. The arrow lands onto Resolution, will be forced down to safety, and immediately healed up by Saksa and his Illumina Blast.
And right now, like his mission seems to be very effective.
He just jumps in. They all the coconut on Tyrant in the background. They are going to be able to go onto Saksa, but it doesn't seem to be enough Evolution. That's the game plan. They tried to use X marks the spot and put Game1 on the front ground with the Blink Dagger. See if he can illusion kill Saksa and then be brought back by the X marks the spot. See if they can get a pick and make this a 4 versus 5. The sad thing is, DC, they have so many more opportunities to ensure a pick-off, as we saw. That Kunk got immediately blown up by Weehaw.
One of the buybacks now used by them is they still have it on both their cores. Nobody else on the side of FNATIC is Resolution just going to run in. They still have to deal with this full HP Slark who's got the Aegis available.
X
leading on the Resolution. They have so many defense mechanisms for it, though. Guardian 3 is flying down the jump board. Ohio feels good to get the goal. He's actually going to go for Misery first here. Hopes to be able to take down. It will be small. Still, though, Ohio goes down. Helium duel. Down Sansa in the background. Mid one off. He's in the life. It saves Sansa's life. And now we are hunts for more. Couldn't get the back on the DJ. He'll bounce back down to the low ground as the Serpent Wards are keeping DC back from taking the rack just yet. But as they start healing up, and he's got his blink ready to go. The Abyssal Blade not on, but it's on the Hayden. He's still in the back line. The Vanilla Blade has to fly back up. He needs the help. He's already picked up. Has the team ready to go. Force them out. And a circle wall. There's the interception removed. Digital Chaos running over FNATIC Heroes inside the base. They've become raiders, killing FNATIC Heroes and now raiding the base. We'll be able to take the range racks in due time, as it seems impossible for FNATIC to be able to stop them. They keep on blinking in with this Murata, going for this charge from and getting his X marks the spot back. But Digital Chaos, they seem to have too many items. They are too tanky to be brought back by these simple nukes, and now they're going for a second lane. Tier 3 on the deck, will be looking up the dark tank though, and the Illuminate undoing some of that damage. Ohio tries to jump himself forward. He needs a critical duel here for them to be able to blow up a hero and make this 4 versus 4 advantage. The Shadow Shaman is still down for 15 seconds, but they're not jumping just yet, and it looks like the full second lane of Rax will go down, and now Tree, Ohio, he sees an opportunity, he's got first 2 life in the last fight here, Ohio, he managed to survive, there's Command once again, the ball comes in, through the clutch, and Ohio will survive. Resolution jumps to the back line, realizes he's too far out, while on the side, our Phantom Lancer is dancing around. Mihawk's ever-present Ursa. He will be able to dance away this way, not locked down by the Abyssal Blade. Digital Chaos have fought back on Misery Slardar, though.
They're just going to go for it right now again, as Resolution still has that Aegis. They don't have the cheese anymore, but the goal lead is so significant as now the Aegis is taken away with 30k net worth, 30k XP. This looks all but impossible for FNATIC. They just don't have the damage anymore on any of their heroes. Resolution was not unkillable.
It is so hard to find the silver lining here for FNATIC. Their 2 lanes of racks down. They're missing buyback on their Shadow Shaman as well as their Phantom Lancer. That's really the important one. A gigantic network deficit. And items just keep on rolling in for Digital Chaos, but the one positive thing you can say is Misery, he doesn't have a buyback, and it looks like FNATIC will be able to buy themselves a bit more time. Digital Chaos here on the main stage, very disciplined and very patient play, making sure they're not putting anything to risk. They're not going to go for the high ground defense, as they no longer have that agents and cheese. They look to be biding their time, farming up a bit more, and perhaps waiting for Roshan.
Yeah, they can afford to, just because FNATIC, again, they can't really leave their base. They wasted their 1 smoke opportunity. They've probably nearly 3 more minutes for the next one. They have to constantly push out these waves. Otherwise, these people know that they're coming, and they'll just disengage and wait for the time to run out before the next creep wave comes in. So FNATIC in a position where they're playing wholly defensively, and they're just waiting for DC to make any moves and just hoping beyond to hold the high ground.
A strategy that is based entirely on the enemy making a mistake. Digital Chaos, though, no cracks in their armor to be seen, at least not yet anyway. They are not tripping up whatsoever. They're not playing overly aggressively. They're not trying to throw this game away. They want to be able to lock in an early lead in this series heading into the final day.
DC just continuing to farm out everything that they possibly can. Looks like they're making absolute sure that there's no doubt about it. And that Liquid game that we saw yesterday, FNATIC managed to pull off the impossible, but DC, that was the 20k lead for Liquid. This is going to be nearly a 40k lead for DC. They want to double that up.
Okay, pull back. We'll be able to keep that Mirana out of the hands of the Ursa.
I keep on seeing Digital Chaos picking up more and more Lincolns. We now have one on Zoxa's Keeper of a Light. That's how you know your supports are farmed when even they are able to get that rather expensive utility item. We also managed to pick up Lincolns just recently.
Yeah, and now we have put the 40,000 net worth deficit in favor of DC. I don't think I've personally seen a comeback like that.
And we even have a heal there on the Slark. You said, you know, if they can't possibly deal with the Phantom, DJ thought he could get some vision down. He's going to be calm. Resolution's going to be able to get the courier as well.
Everything now. He's got a full retreat
of 3 Invis heroes. But he doesn't have the Defense War, so we won't be able to catch them.
DC just picking out whatever they want. They can start making their way to this top tower as this Shadow Shaman doesn't have that buyback available. And here we go, FNATIC gonna have to hold on without him.
Smart
spot and a little bit of hope once again. It seems like a hit, so Proof kind of lifts it out of position. Minery trying to respond, able to get the slither, punches like that. Like take them down, who will eventually fall. Ohio retreats, but it's gonna be the one left in the dust. Another crush for Misery, finish them off. DC, they use their BKB, they pop back on move, they're gonna bring him in with Zoxa. They pop 3-4-3 as well. 75 seconds down for the Phantom Lancer, 60 for the Kunkka, and FNATIC will be left with 3 versus 5 as their last lane ranks being beat on. FNATIC, they never say die, but they finally will give up. Calling it GG, there was just no way back to this game. You said you've never seen a comeback like a 40,000 goal lead, and I'm sure FNATIC had a good idea of what was happening in that game, but they decided to push it to the very end. You never know what can happen here on the main stage, but